Bruno Fernandes deal is back on. Barcelona changed their transfer targets. Wijnaldum discusses his future, a transfer news roundup, and a great debate, all coming up in the next few minutes, as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and despite the fact I told you last Friday that the Bruno Fernandes deal was off, it now looks like it's back on. This just shows you what kind of circus they're running at Manchester United, but eventually the deal looks like it has been done, and this long-winded transfer saga that really didn't need to be so long-winded is finally coming to a close, bar any late bid from Real Madrid or Spurs or anyone like that. Anyway, according to reports, Bruno Fernandes' deal will be for around £50 million with then a further 20 to 25 million in add-ons. This looks like a pretty good deal if United are backing him to become an absolute great, which according to one clause in his contract they are. Apparently Sporting Lisbon will get another 15 million euros if Fernandes wins the Ballon d'Or and United win the Champions League. They are obviously backing either him to be brilliant or themselves to coach him to an unbelievable standard. Of course, if he does get that good, I'm sure United fans will be absolutely delighted. And personally, I think he's got all the tools to be a great player at Old Trafford. He can feed the front line, he can take the ball in pressured situations, and he's got that real bit of quality in the final third. But moving on from Manchester United and to Barcelona, who have apparently switched their transfer targets. In the last few days, there was talk of Rodrigo going from Valencia to Barcelona, and now it looks like he's a little bit too expensive. They don't want to pay all that money for the forward, so instead, they're switching their target to Man Tadic. Now, this may seem like a little bit of an odd one. I mean, they spent 70-odd million on Frenkie de Jong, bringing in a world-class 22-year-old in the summer to bring him to the Nou Camp. But going back into Ajax for his 30-year-old teammate may not be the kind of deal you'd expect Barcelona to do. Actually, given the signings of Paulinho and Arturo Vidal in the last few years, this does seem like a rather Barcelona signing. Anyway, Tadic is an unbelievable player and really has had a good few years at Ajax. 38 goals in all competitions last season, 11 already this season. The main sticking point for me, though, is that Ajax probably don't want to let him go, but for Tadic, it's his last big chance at a massive move, and Ajax are already out of the Champions League. This may seem really harsh that he's just moving to Barca for like half a season, but that's the reality of it. He knows that Barcelona are still in the competition, and they will be in the Champions League for the next few seasons at least. He's got a chance of winning a load of trophies as well, and with Ajax, no disrespect to them, but Barca is just a bigger step up. Of course, this isn't set in stone just yet. It's just pretty much a rumour at this point, but you can probably say that he's not going to cost anything more than around £20 million. So next up, and to Wijnaldum, who's been discussing his future recently. He says he doesn't actually know where he'll be next season. Now, the Dutch player is 29 years old, signed for Liverpool about 4 years ago, and his contract expires at the end of next season. Of course, this leaves him and Liverpool with a massive dilemma. Do they sell him this summer and try and get some money for him? Do they approach him with a new contract where he's going to want to stay on? Does he maybe want one last big move? Will he even be offered a big move? Wijnaldum has said that he is completely and utterly focused on the rest of the season because, well, of course he is. Liverpool got an amazing chance of winning the Premier League, the FA Cup, the treble with the Champions League as well, so there's no reason for Wijnaldum to be looking beyond that. But once that's done and come the summer, he and the club will have a massive decision to make. But what do you guys think? Should Wijnaldum stay at Liverpool or should he be moving on in the summer? I'm going to leave a poll just about here so you guys can have your say. So next up, in a quick roundup of all of the rest of the news, where Wolves are still hoping to complete a deal for Daniel Podence from Olympiacos before the end of the transfer window. Edinson Cavani has reportedly already said his goodbye to his PSG teammates before completing a move to Atletico Madrid. Arsenal are still interested in Flamengo centre-half Pablo Mari. And lastly but not least, we have the first finalist of this season's Carabao Cup. That is Aston Villa. They beat Leicester 2-1 last night, 3-2 on aggregate, and they will move to Wembley for the final, where they'll face the winner of tonight's Manchester derby. So lastly but not least, we come to this week's great debate. You guys know what it is. Every Wednesday, the Onefootball newsroom pose a question for you guys in the comments section. To see my answer and all of the Onefootball newsroom answers, you can click the relevant article in the Onefootball app. But for the video, we want to know what is the best signing of the January transfer window. I should say who, rather. Now, of course, there are so many big names you can throw out there, including the likes of Erling Haaland and Christian Eriksen, but for me, I'm going for one a little bit left of field, and that is Aaron Moy. The Brighton player has signed permanently from Huddersfield, where he was on loan. And, well, I think he's going to be a really good asset in Brighton's fight to stay up. At the moment, they're currently 2 points ahead of the drop zone. We all know how difficult a relegation dogfight can be. So having a player like Moy who's got that instinct, that turn, that brilliant bit of skill, who can flip a game on his head just like that with an outrageous assist or goal is a really, really key asset for them to have. That'll be the difference between Graham Potter having a brilliant first season of surviving relegation or going down. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on the great debate and all of the rest of today's daily news in the comments section down below. Whilst you're there, smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.